Imagine standing in the middle of a battlefield. But this is not a war fought with swords or guns. This is the battlefield of your mind. Every day you face attacks, an insult from a stranger, a betrayal from a friend, a moment of disrespect that ignites a fire inside you. Your body tenses, your mind screams for revenge. But what if you could feel nothing? What if no one, no insult, no betrayal, no circumstance could ever make you angry again? The truth is, anger is not something others cause. It's something you allow. We are programmed to believe that frustration and rage are natural reactions, but the greatest minds in history knew better. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, men who faced war, exile, and betrayal, mastered their emotions so completely that nothing could shake them. Their secret? Stoicism. This is not about being passive or emotionless. It's about absolute control over your mind. Today I'm going to teach you how to never get angry or bothered by anyone again. Not by suppressing emotions, but by dominating them. By the end of this, you won't just understand Stoicism. You'll live it. So, are you ready to take back your power? 1. The illusion of control. Why most people stay angry forever. A man sits in his car, gripping the steering wheel so tightly that his knuckles turn white. His boss just fired him, unexpectedly, without warning, without a fair reason. Rage floods his veins as he replays the moment over and over in his head. His mind fills with blame. His company was corrupt. The economy was failing. His boss was unfair. His career, his future, his very sense of security, all ripped away in a single instant. And yet, the only thing he could do was sit there, stewing in his own anger, completely powerless. This is how most people live. They believe anger is something that happens to them, a natural, uncontrollable force that arises when life doesn't go as planned. They see it as justified, as inevitable, as proof that they've been wronged. But what if that wasn't true? What if anger wasn't something you had to feel, but rather something you chose to feel? The reality is, anger is nothing more than a habit, a conditioned response built over years of reacting to situations in the same way. We believe it is automatic, but it isn't. It's a loop, a cycle that only continues because we allow it to. At the core of this illusion is one dangerous belief, the belief that we can control the outside world. We expect people to act a certain way, for life to be fair, for things to go smoothly. When reality does not align with those expectations, frustration builds. A friend betrays us, a stranger insults us, a deal falls through, and suddenly we feel personally attacked. We rage against the situation as if, through sheer willpower, we can force the world to be different. But the world does not care. The world moves forward, indifferent to our emotions, unchanged by our outrage. The only thing that changes is us. Our peace is shattered, our focus is hijacked, and our power is lost. A Stoic, however, sees through this illusion. He understands that anger is never caused by external events. It is caused by his interpretation of those events. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor who ruled Rome during plagues, wars, and betrayals, knew this well. His empire was constantly under threat. His closest allies turned against him, and yet he remained unshaken. Why? Because he had mastered the one thing no one could ever take from him, his mind. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Meditations. The man who lost his job could have reacted differently. Instead of seeing his situation as a personal attack, he could have accepted it as just another event in the ever-changing nature of life. He could have asked himself, "What do I still control?" Instead of drowning in self-pity, He could have focused on his next step, a new opportunity, a reinvention of his career, a fresh start. His boss may have taken his position, but he could not take his response. This is what separates those who suffer endlessly from those who remain calm under any storm. The ones who suffer believe they must control everything. The ones who thrive understand they only control themselves. The moment you internalize this truth is the moment you free yourself from anger forever. Think back to the last time you were furious about something outside your control. Maybe it was an argument with someone who refused to see your perspective. Maybe it was a delayed flight, a cancelled meeting, or a mistake someone else made that impacted you. Now ask yourself, did my anger change anything? Did it make the situation better? Did it give me any real power? Anger feels powerful, but it is the exact opposite. It is a surrender, an admission that something external has conquered your peace. It hijacks your thoughts, clouds your judgment, and makes you impulsive. You might say things you regret, make reckless decisions, or waste hours dwelling on a situation that no longer exists. It is the ultimate illusion of control. You believe you are fighting back, but in reality, you are losing yourself to a situation you cannot change. So how do you break free? You start by letting go of the illusion that life must conform to your expectations, letting go of the belief that other people must behave a certain way for you to be at peace, letting go of the idea that your emotions must be dictated by the outside world. The moment you do this, a strange thing happens. You stop reacting and you start responding. You shift from being controlled by your emotions to controlling them. You stop wasting energy on things beyond your influence and focus entirely on what you can change, your mindset, your actions, your next move. You become untouchable, no longer disturbed by the chaos around you. Most people never experience this level of inner power. They spend their entire lives trying to control the uncontrollable, raging against circumstances they can never change. But you don't have to. You can break the cycle today. The next time something angers you, stop. Take a breath. Ask yourself, is this situation really in my control? Will my anger solve anything? If the answer is no, then let it go. Not for them, for you. The world will always be unpredictable. People will betray you. Things will go wrong. You will face loss, disappointment, and moments of unfairness. But none of these things have the power to make you suffer, unless you let them. The only thing you ever truly own is your mind. The faster you accept this, the faster you master your emotions. And once you do, something incredible happens. You stop getting angry. You stop feeling bothered. You start living with an unshakable calm, moving through life as if no storm could ever touch you. Because now you see the truth. The world was never in your control, but your mind always was. But if controlling the outside world is an illusion, how do we take full control of our own minds? 2. The Stoic secret: detachment from external judgment. A man posts a video online, proud of the message he has shared. Within minutes, the comments start rolling in. Some are positive, some neutral, but then, "This is garbage. You have no idea what you're talking about." His stomach tightens. He clicks on the profile of the person who wrote it. No videos, no content, just a random stranger hiding behind a screen, tearing others down. He knows he shouldn't care, but the words linger. His mind replays them over and over, even though the person who wrote them has already moved on, probably never thinking about it again. Why do we let the words of others hold such power over us? Why does a single criticism feel heavier than 1,000 compliments? The truth is, most people spend their lives trapped by the opinions of others, constantly adjusting their behavior to gain approval, fearing rejection, and taking every insult as a personal attack. But what if no one's words, good or bad, had the power to shake you? What if you could detach completely, moving through life untouched by praise or criticism alike? The greatest trigger for anger is not what happens to us, it's what others think of us. We believe we are being judged at every turn, that people are analyzing our every move, forming opinions that could make or break our reputation. But here's the uncomfortable truth. No one actually cares about you as much as you think. This is not meant to be cruel. It's liberating. People are too caught up in their own worries, their own insecurities, their own struggles to be fixated on you. Their judgments are never about you. They are reflections of them. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. As Emperor of Rome, he faced endless criticism, betrayal, and public scrutiny. If he had allowed every insult, every whisper of doubt, or every act of opposition to consume him, he would have been ruled by his emotions rather than ruling his empire. Instead, he wrote, "You always have the option of having no opinion." Meditations. Imagine that power, the ability to hear something negative and decide, consciously, that it does not deserve a place in your mind. Think about this in your own life. How many times have you let someone's words dictate your emotions? A passing insult, an offhand comment, a look of disapproval. How often have these things lingered in your thoughts for hours, even days? Now ask yourself, did any of those judgments actually change who I am? Did they alter my abilities, my values, or my purpose? The answer is always no. A true Stoic understands that external judgment is just noise. It carries no real substance unless we choose to give it meaning. Imagine you are walking down a busy street and someone shouts an insult at you from a passing car. You don't know them. They don't know you. They are gone in seconds. Would you let that one comment ruin your entire day? Would you hold on to it, dissecting it over and over in your mind? Most people would. But a Stoic would recognize it for what it is, irrelevant, a momentary sound in the wind, nothing more. This principle applies to all areas of life. Consider an artist releasing their work into the world. Some people will love it, others will mock it. If the artist allows external opinions to dictate their actions, they will either become addicted to validation or paralyzed by fear of criticism. Either way, they are no longer free. A Stoic, however, remains indifferent. Praise does not inflate their ego. Insults do not wound them. They continue creating, living, and moving forward, unaffected by the fleeting judgments of others. This is not to say you should ignore all feedback. Stoicism is not about arrogance, it is about discernment. You must learn to separate useful criticism from meaningless negativity. If feedback helps you grow, use it. If it is mere noise, discard it. You are the gatekeeper of your own mind. Detaching from external judgment takes practice, but it is possible. The next time someone insults you, pause. Instead of reacting, ask yourself, is this about me or is it about them? 9 times out of 10, their words stem from their own biases, experiences, or insecurities. The rude cashier, the aggressive driver, the bitter co-worker, these people are not truly reacting to you. They are reacting to their own inner struggles, their own unresolved frustrations. When you stop taking things personally, you gain an extraordinary kind of power. You become untouchable. You stop being controlled by the unpredictable moods and opinions of others. You move through life with an unshakable sense of peace, knowing that nothing external can define you unless you allow it to. But what if someone truly wrongs you? What if their actions go beyond just words? Should you still remain indifferent, or is there a way to maintain your power while still taking action? If someone truly wrongs you, should you stay silent? Or is there a way to maintain your power without reacting emotionally? 3. The power of non-reaction. How to control every situation. A man stands in the center of a high-stakes negotiation. Hostages are trapped inside a building, the criminals are armed, and the tension is suffocating. Every second matters. The wrong move, the wrong word, or even the wrong tone could push the situation into chaos. Across from him, the hostage-taker is shouting, demanding, threatening. The room holds its breath, waiting for the negotiator to react. But he doesn't. Instead, he remains completely still. He listens, he pauses, he thinks. While everyone else is consumed by fear and emotion, he controls himself, and by doing so, he controls the situation. This is the power of non-reaction. Most people believe that power comes from force, from being the loudest, the strongest, or the most aggressive. But true power comes from stillness. The person who does not react emotionally, who remains composed while others lose themselves, always has the upper hand. This is why the greatest leaders, negotiators, and warriors throughout history have mastered the ability to stay calm under pressure. It is why Marcus Aurelius, despite ruling an empire constantly at war, could write, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Meditations. Think about the last time someone provoked you. Maybe it was a rude comment, an unfair accusation, or someone trying to embarrass you in front of others. Your body tensed, your heart raced, and your instinct told you to react, to fire back, to defend yourself, to prove them wrong. But what happened the moment you reacted? Did it improve the situation? Or did it escalate? The truth is, people expect reactions. When someone insults you, they expect anger. When someone tests you, they expect defensiveness. When someone provokes you, they expect retaliation. But what happens when you give them nothing? Confusion, uncertainty, loss of control. By not reacting, you turn the tables. This is why the most powerful person in any conflict is the one who remains silent, not out of weakness, but out of control. A master negotiator in an FBI hostage crisis does not raise his voice or argue with criminals. He pauses, calculates, and responds with logic. A skilled boxer does not throw wild punches out of emotion. He waits for the right moment, conserving energy, striking only when necessary. A Stoic in daily life does the same. But how do you develop this level of control? How do you resist the overwhelming urge to react when emotions run high? The answer lies in a simple but effective technique, the 3-second rule. Whenever you feel the trigger, anger, frustration, defensiveness, pause for 3 seconds. Do nothing. Breathe in deeply, exhale slowly, and ask yourself one simple question. Does this situation deserve my energy? Most of the time, the answer is no. A random insult? Not worth it. A reckless driver cutting you off? Not worth it. A co-worker's passive-aggressive comment? Not worth it. By the time those 3 seconds pass, your rational mind takes control and the emotional impulse fades. This is the same principle that elite soldiers and martial artists train for. In high-pressure combat, reacting emotionally means death. A warrior must remain completely composed, no matter how chaotic the battlefield becomes. In life, the battlefield is different, but the principle remains the same. He who does not react controls the outcome. Non-reaction is not about passivity, it is about strategy. When you do not react, you put yourself in the position of the observer rather than the victim. You see things clearly. You control your energy, your focus, and your decisions. And in doing so, you shift the balance of power entirely in your favor. Imagine an argument where someone is aggressively trying to provoke you. Instead of engaging, you stay silent. You let their words linger in the air, unchallenged. Watch what happens next. They will either become frustrated at your lack of reaction, or they will start second-guessing themselves. Either way, you win without even engaging in the fight. This is the same tactic that master negotiators use to dominate discussions. They do not rush to respond, they let silence do the work. In business, this is known as the power of the pause, the ability to sit in silence while the other person reveals their weaknesses, over-explains, or makes mistakes. The moment you master silence, you master the art of control. But what about situations where action is truly required? What if someone crosses a serious boundary, commits an injustice, or does something that cannot be ignored? Should you still remain silent? Should you let things slide in the name of self-control? But if someone truly wrongs you, should you stay silent, or is there a way to maintain your power while still taking action? 4. The art of indifference. Stop taking things personally. A billionaire walks through a crowded event, his every step watched by the public. Suddenly, a critic shouts from across the room, calling him a fraud, a failure, a disgrace. The crowd turns to see his reaction. Most people in his position would be outraged, defensive, angry, desperate to prove their worth. But he does something unexpected. He smiles. He chuckles under his breath. And then he simply walks away, completely unbothered. Who won in that moment? The man who shouted, desperately seeking a reaction, or the man who remained indifferent, untouchable and free? The truth is, nothing is personal unless you decide it is. This is the essence of Stoic mastery, the ability to let go of the idea that people's words, opinions and actions are somehow about you. They are not. People act based on their emotions, their biases, their past experiences. You are just an observer in their personal world. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, understood this deeply. He wrote, "What others do is their business. What you do is yours." The moment you internalize this, you step into a level of mental strength that most people never reach. The world no longer controls you. It does not matter if someone insults you, criticizes you, or tries to belittle you. Their words hold zero weight unless you give them power. Imagine two people walking through a storm. One curses the rain, yells at the clouds, complains about how unfair it is. The other simply accepts it. He does not take the rain personally. He does not blame the sky for being what it is. He adjusts, moves forward, and remains at peace. Life is the same. People are the same. Some will be kind, some will be cruel, some will love you, some will hate you. But none of it is truly about you. It is about them. Think about the last time someone insulted you. Maybe they said you were incompetent. Maybe they called you weak. Maybe they dismissed your ideas. Now ask yourself, was their judgment based on deep understanding, or was it simply an opinion formed in seconds? The reality is, most criticisms are not well thought out. They are quick, emotional, and often a reflection of the person speaking rather than the person being judged. A true Stoic sees through this illusion. He understands that if an insult can shake him, it is not the insult that has power. It is his own attachment to the words. He learns to let go, to observe the world without attachment, without taking things personally. There is a powerful exercise that can change how you see criticism forever. The next time someone insults you, do not react. Instead, mentally say to yourself, "That's their opinion, not my reality." Say it again. Repeat it as many times as needed until it sinks in. Watch what happens. The insult loses all meaning. It no longer sticks. It fades into nothingness because you did not accept it as truth. People expect you to react. They expect you to defend yourself, to argue, to feel attacked. But the moment you break that pattern, you become untouchable. You shift from reacting to observing. You stop letting others dictate your emotions. A warrior does not take insults personally. A leader does not crumble under criticism. A master of the mind does not let the words of others shake his reality, because he understands that his value is not dependent on external validation. Detaching from personal offense does not mean becoming emotionless. It means choosing where to invest your energy. Imagine carrying a backpack full of rocks. Each rock represents an insult, a judgment, an expectation placed upon you by others. Most people walk through life carrying these weights, allowing them to slow them down. But you don't have to. You can drop the weight. You can walk lighter, move faster, and live freer by simply refusing to pick up the burden of others' opinions. This mindset extends beyond insults. It applies to rejection, failure, and even praise. If you depend on approval to feel valuable, you will also crumble under criticism. The Stoic mindset is to remain centered regardless of what others think. You are neither inflated by compliments nor broken by insults. You stay grounded in who you are, independent of the shifting opinions around you. So, the next time someone tries to belittle you, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, is this really about me or is it about them? Most of the time, you will realize that it has nothing to do with you at all. And just like that, the weight is gone. The storm passes. You walk away, smiling, untouched, unshaken, and truly free. But what if, despite your best efforts, you still feel anger rising inside? What if the emotion is too strong to ignore? How do you process it without losing control? But if you still feel anger rising inside, how do you process it without losing control? 5. Memento mori. How accepting death ends all anger. A man opens his eyes, staring at the white ceiling of a hospital room. His body is covered in bruises, his ribs ache with every breath, and his mind is foggy from the trauma. Just hours ago, he was in a car, speeding down the highway, thinking about work, stress, arguments, things that at the time felt overwhelmingly important. Then, in an instant, everything changed. Metal twisted, glass shattered, and the world spun out of control. He barely survived, and now, as he lies in that hospital bed, he has one overwhelming thought. Why did I waste so much time on things that didn't matter? Nothing changes a person's perspective more than coming face to face with death. It strips away every illusion, every distraction, every trivial worry. Arguments, grudges, pride, anger. Suddenly none of it seems important anymore. What once consumed the mind now feels small, insignificant, almost laughable. When you truly understand that time is limited, you stop wasting it on things that don't matter. This is the power of memento mori, the Stoic practice of remembering that death is inevitable. It may sound morbid at first, but it is one of the most liberating realizations a person can have. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, understood this deeply. He wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Meditations. These were not just words to him. They were a way of life. Every decision, every reaction, every emotion was filtered through the lens of mortality. Ask yourself, if today were my last day, would this argument matter? If you had only a few hours left to live, would you spend them being angry at a stranger who cut you off in traffic? Would you waste precious moments resenting someone for an insult? Would you allow yourself to be consumed by trivial frustrations? The answer is always no. When faced with the reality of death, our priorities shift instantly. What truly matters rises to the surface: love, purpose, presence, gratitude. But here's the thing: you don't need a near-death experience to gain this clarity. You don't have to wait until your final moments to start living wisely. You can train yourself, right now, to see life through the eyes of someone who understands its brevity. And when you do, something incredible happens. Anger disappears. Think of anger as a thief. It steals your time, your peace, your energy. It convinces you that petty conflicts are worth your attention. But when you remember that life is finite, you start guarding your time like a warrior protecting his kingdom. You stop giving your minutes away so easily. Imagine waking up each morning and reminding yourself, if today were my last, how would I live? This is not meant to create fear. It is meant to create focus. It reminds you to choose wisely, to decide consciously what deserves your attention and what doesn't. A rude comment from a co-worker, not worth it. A delay in your plans, not worth it. The noise of everyday frustrations, not worth a second of your time. Consider the story of a man who survived a plane crash. He walked away from the wreckage with nothing but gratitude. Before the crash, he was constantly stressed, arguing over small things, chasing things that didn't fulfill him. But after that moment, everything changed. He no longer allowed himself to be consumed by minor problems. When someone insulted him, he simply smiled. When things didn't go as planned, he adapted. Why? Because he had seen the edge of life, and he refused to waste another second on anything that didn't matter. This is the ultimate Stoic mindset shift. It is not about ignoring emotions. It is about putting them in perspective. Anger may arise, but when you compare it to the vastness of life and the certainty of death, it instantly shrinks. It no longer controls you. And this is not just philosophy, it is science. Studies have shown that people who have near-death experiences often return with a completely different outlook. Their brains shift. They become more patient, more compassionate, more present. They stop reacting emotionally to things that used to enrage them. Why? Because they know, deep in their bones, that life is too short for nonsense. You can create this shift without experiencing disaster. You can start today. Try this simple challenge. Every morning before you start your day, ask yourself one question. If today were my last, would this matter? Ask it before every decision. Ask it before every argument. Ask it before wasting energy on anger. Soon, you will find that most things are not worth your time. But what about the things that do matter? What about real challenges, real problems, real situations that require strength and resilience? How do you ensure that your emotions don't control you while still living a life of meaning and discipline? But how do you turn these insights into a daily practice, ensuring that they become second nature rather than just a passing realization? 6. The Daily Stoic Ritual: How to Train Your Mind Like a Warrior. A warrior does not enter battle unprepared. He does not wake up hoping that his instincts will be enough. He trains every single day. He sharpens his blade, strengthens his body, and, most importantly, masters his mind. The world throws chaos, insults, and challenges at you daily. Most people react. The Stoic warrior prepares. Every great Stoic, from Marcus Aurelius to Seneca, had a mental training system. They did not simply rely on philosophy, they practiced it, day after day, until it became who they were. They trained their minds like a warrior trains his body, ensuring that no insult, no misfortune, no external force could ever shake them. The secret to becoming unbothered by anything or anyone is discipline. You do not magically wake up one day with an unshakable mind. You must build it. And just like a warrior in training, there are 2 daily exercises that will forge you into a person who never loses control again. The first battle of the day is not fought in the real world, it is fought in your mind. Before anything happens, you must prepare. This is where the ancient Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum comes in. It means the premeditation of evils. It is the art of mentally preparing for obstacles before they arise. Imagine waking up each morning and asking yourself, what could go wrong today? At first, this might seem negative, but in reality, it is the ultimate tool for control. Instead of being caught off guard when things don't go your way, you have already rehearsed your response. Let's say you have an important meeting. Instead of hoping everything will go smoothly, a Stoic prepares. What if my colleague criticizes me? What if there's unexpected traffic? What if the presentation doesn't go as planned? By mentally facing these challenges in advance, nothing surprises you. When the actual event happens, your emotions stay steady because your mind has already experienced the discomfort. You are no longer reacting, you are executing a plan. Before you start your day, close your eyes for 60 seconds. Visualize the worst-case scenarios that could happen today: an argument, a delay, an insult. Then, visualize yourself handling each one calmly, powerfully, and with complete control. This is how you program yourself for resilience before the day even begins. Every great warrior reviews his battles. Every great leader reflects on his decisions. Every great Stoic analyzes his own mind. Marcus Aurelius, despite ruling an empire, wrote in his personal journal every night, not to impress anyone, not for public validation, but to review his own discipline. He would ask himself, did I react with wisdom today? Did I let emotions control me? Or did I control them? What could I have done better? This daily self-reflection is the most powerful tool for growth. You cannot improve what you do not analyze. You cannot master yourself unless you hold yourself accountable. At the end of each day, take 5 minutes to reflect on how you responded to life's challenges. Identify one moment where you remained calm while others might have reacted emotionally, recognizing the strength in your restraint. Then, acknowledge one instance where emotions got the best of you, not with judgment, but as an opportunity to learn. Finally, determine how you will handle similar situations better in the future, ensuring that each day brings greater self-mastery. This simple habit, practiced consistently, will forge an unshakable mind, one that is resilient, disciplined, and fully in control. This practice rewires your brain. Each night you become stronger than you were yesterday. Most people believe that emotional control is just a personality trait. It is not. It is a skill, one that must be trained daily. Think of your mind like a muscle. If you lift weights every day, your body becomes stronger. If you train your reactions every day, your mind becomes unbreakable. Every time you resist the urge to react emotionally, you strengthen this mental muscle. Every time you pause instead of snapping back, you train yourself for future challenges. Over time, you become someone who does not get angry, who does not take things personally, and who controls every situation simply by controlling yourself. Imagine living in a world where nothing bothers you. Someone insults you. You shrug. Plans change unexpectedly. You adapt. Stressful situations arise. You remain calm. This is not fantasy. This is a skill set you can develop. The Stoics were not superhuman. They were disciplined. And now, so are you. But knowing this is not enough. You must practice. You must wake up tomorrow and start your day with premeditatio malorum. You must end your day with reflection and refinement. If you do this, every single day, there will come a time when you look around and realize, I do not get angry anymore. I do not react. I do not waste my time on things that don't matter. I have full control of my mind, and because of that, I have full control of my life. But this is just the beginning, because now that you have the blueprint for an unbreakable mind, what will you do with it? Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire in turmoil. wars, betrayals, plagues, and constant pressure. Yet, through it all, he remained composed, unshaken, untouchable. He knew what most people never realize. The world cannot disturb you unless you allow it to. He mastered his emotions, not by suppressing them, but by understanding that he alone controlled his mind. Now, the question turns to you. Will you continue letting small frustrations dictate your peace? Will you keep giving away your power to insults, delays, and trivial inconveniences? Or will you rise above, embrace the discipline of a Stoic, and take full control of your inner world? Tonight, before you sleep, take 5 minutes. Reflect. Did I react with wisdom today? Did I focus on what I can control? This is how you train your mind. This is how you become unbreakable, not by waiting for an easier world, but by forging a stronger self. If you're ready to build an untouchable mindset, type unshakable in the comments. Let the world see your commitment. If this message resonated with you, like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom. Together, we are building a community of people who refuse to be controlled by the chaos around them. And before you go, ask yourself one final question. What if you lived every day as if nothing could disturb your peace? What would change? Your journey starts now.